Okay, I'm not gonna lie, it's a little bit of a bummer, but we're actually losing some players in Genshin Impact. And I think there's some pretty obvious reasons for that, which we're gonna go over in this video. But on top of it, I think we're kind of getting a burst of players that are leaving at the moment, because right around now is when free-to-play players are starting to hit AR 45. And if you're not aware, AR 45 is when the difficulty really starts ramping up. I mean, I'm a well, right? I do everything. I do the refreshes, all that jazz. And as I do it, AR 45 is still difficult for me, even as that, right? This is the AR 45 world you're looking at now. And when I do some of the domains, I either struggle or just flat out can't do them unless I move artifacts and all that stuff around and really min-max it. And as it stands, free-to-play players aren't going to have all the resources to be able to move around and min-max. And the new update that's coming out is scaled for AR 45, meaning they're scaling it so that the players, the free-to-play players, are hitting the level needed for the new quest, the free-to-play players that start on day one, that is, at the same time that quest is becoming available. I think this makes a lot of sense, and it's probably a pretty good plan, because what they're trying to do is keep the free-to-play people interested so that by the time they get to the point where they're kind of running out of content or getting dissatisfied with the game, you could say, there's something again available. This makes sense because you're going to slowly turn the long-term players into pay-to-play players, and that's probably where they're going to get some of their continual revenue. But I do think we're losing some players currently that are more of the spending players, because what happens is a lot of the people like the lottery systems in these type of games, right? Meaning what's going to happen is they want to log into the game, they want to open some new characters, try out the new characters, play a little bit of the game, and then probably log off and do it again tomorrow. A lot of people like to pull, get away from my water, it's my water. A lot of people like to pull characters consistently, and if you're not pulling characters, they like to be able to at least try out the new characters, etc. But what ends up happening is we get stuck in this cycle, and I know I've talked about videos about resin not being a problem and all that. It doesn't matter how much resin you have, the cycle is still the same here, okay? The real issue that it comes into is when you log into the game, you're kind of forced into the same cycle of do your commissions, claim your daily commission rewards, look for some new chests, maybe check your abyss, etc. And you don't really get a mode in the game, per se, that the wells or the people who are, let's say, expensive but casual can come in, gain some adventure rank experience, try out their new characters, and not really have to go through all the same steps with each character. What's happening is people are getting these new characters and then they're feeling disappointed because they're getting the same gameplay experience with the new characters, meaning they're taking them and they're farming, ley lines, stuff like that with them, and they're just like, I've already done this a million times, and even though if the character is new, it doesn't feel new. So you kind of end up with your most exciting experience in the game to be when you get an adventure rank and you run over here and you talk to the chick and you're like, you know what, I want my commission rewards, give me my 500 experience, you get a little bit of rewards there, you get your primos, and then you're like, I want my other rewards please, which is your adventure rank rewards. There you go. That tends to be kind of the most exciting thing that can happen. And when the most exciting thing that can happen is you get some rewards that you already know what you're going to get because you can see them in advance, and you only get those after grinding a whole bunch, and the rewards themselves just help you grind a little bit more. It kind of just feeds that cycle. Now, this isn't inherently wrong within the gacha genre. This is kind of the core fundamental gameplay. Hook, habit, hobby. You repeat the gameplay. That tends to be the way these work. Just because it's the way it works doesn't necessarily mean it's the way it should work or that it's the most exciting. Now, I've made the argument before of saying this is a gacha game. I think lots of PC players are not used to gacha mechanics. And I think that's true, which is where we get a portion of the outcry from both PC players as well as previous PC content creators. Whereas this game has a lot of, you can call them toxic, predatory, whatever you want. I'm not going to argue that. Mechanics built into a game that otherwise feels like a fighting game, an open world MMO, and a PC game kind of all wrapped into one. So you get a really enjoyable cycle of actually using the characters mixed with the unenjoyable limitations of the characters with gacha components. So you end up kind of getting this yin and yang, and you're always fighting the yang in order to feel satisfied with your character. This is the way gachas work, and something about putting that gacha mechanic into a PC game is not fitting 100% well with a lot of players. I know you can combat a lot of the grinding by having friends, going to your friends' worlds, picking up their ores, stuff like that. But even then, there's problems with that. There's problems with the co-op as well, which means that the level you're at is only the level that other people can join at. Like someone can't join at my world and then we downgrade my world to their world level. Stuff like that can't happen. I don't know if that's to avoid some abusable mechanics, but that would go a long way to kind of liven the game up and make it a little bit more exciting. Personally, I think the solution to a lot of this is by increasing the level of player-to-player activity. And I'm not talking competition unless we're talking PvE competition. Imagine if you had a guild or a clan that had, let's say, 30 people in it, and you could see their Abyss tier ranks, their AR ranks, how many chests they've opened, okay, how quickly they've killed each one of the world bosses solo. Things like that. Even non-important achievements that only unlock cosmetics go a long way for people in games like this that are open world. I really hope that we see more cosmetics, more social-to-social interaction in this game, as I really think that is the path forward as we focus on PvE and hopefully raids at some point. We also kind of run into the problem that at some point for collectors or whales like myself, the people that they're fishing for, basically, the people they're trying to hook into the game who spend lots of money. I'm one of those people. The problem you run into is as a whale, if you want to support the game or whatever you want to call it and put a ton of ridiculous money into the game and get all the characters, once you have all the characters, you can level them up and everything, but there's not really a massive reason to level anyone up as it stands. Leveling the characters up don't make them better in Expedition, for instance. So I think innately Genshin Impact has to battle against their one largest issue, which, how I see it, is that they are a content creation type of game. They continually come out with new content. They're focused on good voice acting, which I think is phenomenal, on a good storyline, on cinematics, on the cutscenes, on quality story gameplay. And as they focus on that type of gameplay typically takes large amounts of time, but gets blown through quickly by the players who are hardcore players spamming spacebars. I've done that myself. So what's going to happen is, in my personal opinion, the players, the whales, and the free-to-play should all outpace the content in the game. And at the last month or two, or let's just say the last couple weeks, because I guess they're in a 6-week release cycle is what they say. The last couple weeks, the audience is going to become restless. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see a kind of a cycle, not only in content creation videos, but also in the populace, the Discord, the Reddit, how the people feel, of a cycle of being really excited by the game, like when it releases, and then to kind of, in the last couple weeks before release, getting a little negative about the game as people are having to be forced into just the cycle and they have less new content to focus on. So in the end, it's really going to come down to how patient are you with the content coming out, how much are you willing to grind, and how much are you really looking for a full gacha experience as much as kind of looking for more a PC MMO where you can interact with your friends, etc. I think a clan system would go a long way to continue the health of this game. And I think some raids with your friends, meaning instance boss fights with your friends that are not just the standard domains, would be great as well. If you agree with these points, consider liking the video or subscribing to see more Genshin Impact related content. I love you all, and I hope you have a wonderful day.